see if we can go from there.
Right.
All right. Hey, I'm that bastard Obi, and I'm here with my douche chill co-host Ed. We are drinking from the garden host, your favorite podcast about nothing. Get us wherever you get your podcast. Please give us 5-star reviews and like us. Leave all the best comments. Go ahead to the webpage, gardenhose.vercel.com.app, and just go ahead and join the conversation there. There's always some good stuff that comes back around the show. You'll be a part of the conversation. Ed, how are you?
Obi, I am doing well. I was gonna come in with one statement, and now I got to go with another statement, just because of what you just said. You talked about the comments being part of the show. We might as well just start with that. Our last episode, we talked about that overzealous bouncer that not only carded me, but then checked my ID for whether it was fake or not. And then I let drop that he had a tactical vest and a big knife on his, and he had an ankle holster. And one of our listeners chimed in and made a comment that really resonated with me. Basically said, "I discovered the Paul Blart of bouncers," and that just, I think that's what I found, Paul Blart. So when I go back to the bar, if the guy's there, I'm going to call him Paul. See what he says.
That is definitely a place to go with it.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was looking at the polls.
You're looking at the poll, yeah? And what
Yeah. And I just heard the podcast. We're invited for 2 straight dudes to go on dates, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what our people said. And I'd like it to be known that I do not have a crush on Ed. So the person who voted that way, Ed, Ed is not my crush. I mean,
I may or may not have voted that way, Obi. You don't know. It's an anonymous poll. You don't know who voted for what.
you're right. I don't know who voted for what. I have my theories.
It's a good theory, but there is, people should go there. If you haven't seen that poll, it is an opportunity. If you think Obi has a crush on Ed, you can go and you can voice that opinion. So I encourage you to do that. So Obi, speaking of crushes, I'm not here to profess my crush for you, but I heard an interesting term in the past week that I think is appropriate, because what people are about to discover, if you're listening to us in the traditional realm, you have no idea what I'm about to talk to. But if, let's say, you're watching us on YouTube right now, that's because you're watching us, right? So Obi has finally figured out, at least he says he has, figured out how to get our video, the video of this podcast, up on the internet so people can see us interacting. So that's the first thing. So hooray, Obi, you finally did it, right?
If this works. But,
Yeah.
the people who are not watching it and didn't go to YouTube to find it, well, no, that didn't work. So, there's that too.
So what YouTube should they go to? Me, My Scotch, and I? Is that the YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's probably going to still in the Me, My Scotch, and I YouTube page. Yes.
All right, so that's where you want to go and check us out. And you're going to want to check this out because of what I'm going to say in the term I just heard recently. So, Obi, have you heard the term catfish?
Catfish?
No, not catfish. Catfish. HAT fish. Catfish.
Is that what I'm doing now by hiding the fact that I'm bald by wearing a hat?
So, in essence, yes. But a hatfish is someone who looks better with their hat on than with their hat off. Like, so a girl could say, "Wow, he looks really hot," and then he takes his hat off, and oh shit, I just got hatfish.
Oh, well, I am equally as handsome with or without my hat. I just am cold.
But I think what it comes down to, a hatfish is usually a bald guy wearing a hat.
I don't think so. I think it's like a guy with like gray hair who's wearing a hat. That's just what I'm going to think and stand by. Yeah, I think it.
So what you're saying is I look better with a hat.
I'm guessing that you look better with a hat. You'd have to ask your wife for confirmation. But I did notice that you chose to wear a hat for the video.
Well, I did, but I think this is you crushing on me again, Obi. But so hatfish is a new term, and so I think the poll, we should put a poll out there. Is Obi a hatfish?
Well,
So you got to go to Me, My Scotch, and I, check out Obi, and you got to tell us if he's a hatfish or not.
Well, Ed, I hope to go before our next segment because I think I'm about to get us canceled. Something
Oh,
happened to me the other day, and it was a little shocking. So, Ed, I went to a baseball game, and I'm with my son, and the third base ump makes the call that the batter swung.
you didn't
And
like that call, and you didn't like that call.
not just me, the entire stadium. And then we booed, and then they showed it on replay, and then we really booed. So I went into my bag of tricks and pulled out the classic, or what I thought was a classic, the ump beats his wife. And I start chanting, the ump beats his wife. And my son looks at me and he says, and look, I'm 50 years old. You would think somewhere along the way I would have said something somewhere. But no, he just looked at me and goes, it's the first time he ever said those words. Dad, you can't say that.
Now, here's the question for you, Obi.
Yes.
Before we debate the merits of whether you can say that or not, I want to go back to, I mean, first of all, welcome to my life. My kids tell me all the time I'm not allowed to say what I say. So that's the first thing. You'll get over it, Obi, trust me.
Well over it. I am. But it was worth conversing about.
But the
Because, I mean, like I
second,
said, that was like my bag of tricks. That was a classic. That was the easy
but
pull.
the second one, yeah, and some things just don't age well, and that's one of them. So, but here's the thing: when you said it, because you had to, because you actually thought the ump was going to hear you, so you said it very loud.
Right.
Did other people give you a look like, "Yo, bro, we're just booing here. We're not talking about domestic violence"? Like, did you get that look?
No, no.
So only your son was just overly sensitive. You don't think the people around you were overly sensitive, just your son.
Well, I didn't. I yelled it loud enough that the immediate air here. I was going for the chant volume, hoping to get the chant going.
Oh, yes. Domestic
Not,
violence on a Friday night chant. Awesome.
not the hey you. No, no, not the not the direct. Like the I want everybody in on it. Uh, so definitely the folks in front of me who were a bunch of young men, maybe 3 to 5 years older than my son. So like post cop, my son's in 20. These kids are probably about 25, 26. They definitely had their beers going. They heard me. The person next to me had to hear me because they were right next to me. But no, the only person who looked at me was my son. And no, and by the way, his rationale was not, how you're rationalizing it. No, it's like you just can't accuse some guy you don't know of that. That's a hardcore accusation. That's what he said.
So wait a second.
So if
So
it been
if
true,
if you said vandalized a Tesla, you also would have gotten in trouble for
no,
that?
I think domestic violence is the worst crime. But yeah, I mean, he really wasn't. He was like, you just can't be accusing some man of that.
So is it like, what if you accused the ump of a white collar crime? Like the ump
Embezzles money.
doesn't pay his taxes, or ump invested with Madoff. Like, does that get you canceled? Like, I'm just what, because that's a really interesting angle your son went with, is that that's just something you shouldn't accuse the man of, as opposed to you shouldn't make light of domestic violence. Like, it's 2025. You're not allowed to be homophobic. You're not allowed to make fun of domestic violence. Like, there's a lot of rules that didn't exist 30 years ago.
Right. No, I think no, it felt like it was accusing the man. Felt like my son was not on the you're making light of domestic, which is what I thought he was going to say when he said you can't say. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, like that was but that's not how he approached me either, son. When I relayed this story to the other son, he's like, no, no, you can't be accusing that man of that without that knowledge. So
That's
I
hilarious.
think I think I could have gotten away, but even though, so I still think it's about domestic violence because I do think I could have said the ump invest was made off. I think that could have, especially since it was a Mets game, so that really would have had some extra
Yeah.
umph to it, you know.
I mean, if we're accusing a man of crimes he did not commit as an insult.
Right.
So this could be a good poll,
The
Obi.
the ump knows Epstein. That might have been closer to the
Ooh, if you went
ooh.
to, the ump was on Epstein's plane.
The ump was on Epstein's plane.
I think that would get you also in trouble. You can't accuse a man of that crime.
Does seem pretty steep.
Yeah, being on the plane.
Whew.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. All right. Ump,
What
we got
can
to
you?
do ump insults that are not allowed.
Yes, yes. What insults are no longer
Ump insults
acceptable?
not allowed. That could be a poll. Okay, we just got to think about that
Yeah,
for now.
for now. Uh-oh. Just if we
Obi, here's the kick. Here's the
it,
funny thing is, I don't think you paid your internet bill this month.
that's what I think. I think my internet bill was unpaid.
I mean,
And
if we were going to do a podcast and after 4.5 years decide that we're going to, you know what, now we're going to make the jump to video, this is definitely the video that people want to see
oh yeah, I mean,
because I'm looking at a frozen Obi.
so have you been here the whole time?
Yeah, but it said recording stop.
Yeah. So last thing that we got, and was you telling the folks that my I had frozen.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the question is, do we just call it an episode right there?
That should be a poll.
Should we just stop them while we were ahead?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? That episode ending sucked. The charm is that we suck. I'm Obi. That's it. Thank you for watching and listening to Drinking from the Garden Hose.